I love going to Berkshire Hathaway annual meetings because Warren Buffett will say this almost every year. He says, the difference between successful people and extremely successful people is that extremely successful people say no to almost everything. If you are crystal clear with your purpose and where you're headed in life, then you should be saying no to everything that doesn't fit that. But a quote that Garrett has now adopted for himself is this: absent a crystal clear value set and a crystal clear purpose, you have zero ability to distinguish between an opportunity and a distraction. Think about that.
That's the entrepreneur's dilemma right there.
Yeah.
They think it's an opportunity. They enthusiastically run after something that's leading them away from purpose, maybe in the name of perceived profit, but a lot of times it's distraction, it's overly diversified, and they lose their power.
And please never take opportunity over purpose or values. You have to have your values clear and your purpose clear. And then you'll be able to know whether something's an opportunity or a distraction. Please, though, people always they say, well, I can make some money, or I could hire this person because it's an easy hire. I don't have to interview a lot of people. And those types of decisions are usually disastrous.
I know personally. You know, I thought I had the Midas touch and that every business I was going to start. I remember in 06, just this business after another business, and all of a sudden I have all these, and they're somewhat working, some that aren't not working, but they're not working, and then some that are really working. And then as soon as one, it just took one to stop working, and all of a sudden my attention was diverted to that problem, and all of a sudden the rest of the cards start falling and having problems because I'm not placing attention. I'm overly diversified. I'm easily distracted. I feel like I can't get anything done because there's always something. And I feel like one of the most profound things you advise me on is if I'm saying yes to something that's not in alignment with my purpose, I'm saying no to my purpose.
Exactly.
And I think that purpose is one of the most profitable things for people. The more clear I get about my purpose, the more profit I know my firm's going to have because we know who we are and how we serve.
Why don't you take a moment now, because we've talked about this for over a year, why don't you tell everyone what your company's purpose is?
We exist to have passion and purpose be practical and profitable for entrepreneurs. That's what we do. And so knowing that, when someone comes and they're not the right fit, we know that, okay, we're not the best place to help you. Or when someone comes and they have all this charisma and they sound so great and they're selling me on their vision, because I know my premise and my vision and my purpose, I can say no in a loving, acceptable way where they feel okay about the no. See, before, I didn't feel okay about the no. I wanted to please everyone,
right.
And I don't end up pleasing my family or myself in that situation.
Exactly. Yep. So why don't we talk about some of the tools that we've actually done some filming of some modules. We've got 30 modules. I just want to share 3 today. And where do you want to start?
Well, why don't we start with the one that has been alluded to a little bit here with the values-based decision-making. Mm-hmm. Because it just seems that if people could understand, and you make this so simple and clear, this will save you so much lost money, lost energy, lost time with things that are important to you today, and the frustration, failure, and inevitable fear that comes along with not utilizing values-based decision-making. As an example, he's going to share what that is. But when he first advised me, the very first call, we went through that. I make a list of people, and there was one person on that list that I didn't get rid of because I'm like, yeah, you know. But I knew that it wasn't fully values-based, and there was, you call it.
Just to be clear, I said, Garrett, make a list of everybody who's in your life that needs to be out of your life. And so that was the instruction. And then, by the way, he's the best student in the world. So if you want to learn from somebody like Garrett, I want you to know that you're learning from somebody who also puts himself in the hot seat and is a learner himself.
Well, then we had a conversation 9 months later. I'm like, guess what? Name number 1 on the list. I'm like, I get rid of all these other ones. That name I chose to keep around, and they just took money from me. Yeah. They just took money from me. I'm like, and the thing is, how could that be a surprise after you gave me the tools? So look, what Rick is going to give you is so crystal clear and simple and so profound, you just have to utilize it. You cannot come and use your reasons and your excuses and your but, and I know this one exception. Look, exceptions are devastating. That's what's devastating people. And what you're going to do is eliminate so much of that complexity, because this is the simplicity guy. How do you have simplicity even though you run 41 holdings, or have 41 holdings? How do you have simplicity when you're these billionaires you meet with that have 50,000 employees? It exists, but not unless you understand these types of things. And this one's key. So let's talk about what is values-based decision-making and how they integrate it.
Okay. So values-based decision-making, very simply, whether you're an individual or you're a company, it's having a pre-established set of values from which all decisions will be made. Now, let me give you an example of that. I advocate that everyone should understand what their values are as an individual, and when somebody comes into their life, whether it's a potential spouse, potential roommate, potential business partner, potential client, vendor, whatever it is, what I like to use is what I call the values doorman. And that's a doorman that sits somewhere in your life, they're imaginary, and the doorman has your list of values in their hand. And the doorman says, nope or yes. Meaning, before someone is allowed to enter your life, do they value what you value? Because I've been saying this for years, and I've had pushback from people. Every single solitary problem in your life, in my life, and in Garrett's life starts with a decision whether or not to let someone in your life. I have decided in the course of my career to let people in my life, whether they're employees or vendors or clients or whatever, that are the wrong people. I knew it in my gut. My values doorman told me, get these people out of your life. Don't even let them get their foot in the door. And sometimes I choose opportunity over everything else, and I let them in my life. Every single problem that I have ever had started right there. I've been involved in lawsuits because people that I brought into my life didn't value what I valued. Same thing for your company. Your company needs to have a strict set of values that you adhere to. How do you think companies like Microsoft were able to go from zero to multi-billion dollars in revenue? They knew the business they were in. They understood what their values were. They hired the best employees. None of this is magical. But where the problems start is when we make shortcuts, whether it's in our personal life, marrying the wrong person as an example. We all know when we're walking down the aisle whether this person values what we value. And some of us, I've had a very good friend of mine say to me, yeah, well, I'm just going to give this a shot because her family has money. Think about that. So you're going to destroy her life. You're going to destroy your kid's life. This person actually had 3 kids and then got out. The values doorman is unbelievably powerful. So what I want to encourage you to do, all of you listening, is to sit down right now, take an hour, lay out your values, and you should have from 5 to 9 values. And these are values that you want your life to be about. And everything in your life that doesn't fit those values, I want you to, if you're up for this game, if you want to play big, if you want to be a billionaire mindset type of individual, then look at that list of values, look at what's in your life, and get rid of anything that doesn't fit. That's values-based decision making. It sounds so simple, but here's the bottom line. Losing weight is simple too, but very few people know how to do it effectively, because simple in theory, hard to execute. Same thing here. You've got to sit down like Garrett did, and you've got to come up with your list of values, and you've got to make a decision. From this day forward, am I going to make decisions based on values? And here's the magic of this. Albert Einstein said, the magic of compounding interest is one of the most profound things that I have ever seen. The magic of compounding interest. And I think that's pretty cool. But the magic of compounding decisions, your life as you sit right now, your success or not enough success, or wherever you are in life, is because of all of the decisions that you've made from the day you were born to today. If you start right now today and say, from now on, I'm only going to make decisions that are consistent with my values, wait till you see the compounding and the magic of that. And I think Albert Einstein, if he were alive today, he would agree that the magic of compounding decision making is just as powerful as compounding interest.